You're watching CHCO-TV's gavel-to-gavel coverage of the September 2025 regular council meeting for the Municipal District of St. Stephen. I'm Florence Mitchell. Today's meeting begins with a presentation by Hollis Bartlett of the Southwest New Brunswick Service Commission on the Municipal District's 2026 budget contribution. Under Bylaws, Bylaw 01-25 relating to the composition of council will be given its first reading in its entirety and its second reading by title. Under New Business, Council will move to approve the renewal of St. Croix Public Library Board member Jane Lindsay for a 3-year term. Council will also move to adopt the 3-year plan for the Provincial Municipal Highway Partnership Program for 2028 to 2030. Now let's join Council in the Moosehead Room at the Garcelon Civic Centre in St. Stephen.
Welcome to the Municipal District of St. Stephen Council agenda for Wednesday, October 1st, 2025 at 6 p.m. And call to order. Before we begin, I would like to respectfully acknowledge that we are gathered today on ancestral unceded territory of the Passamaquoddy people. And I'll take a mover and seconder that the agenda for the regular council meeting of October 1st, 2025 be approved with the addition of the following late agenda items under request for decision, C, acquisition of property, and council reports, Councillor Cornish. Okay.
Second.
Councillor Harding, Councillor Wright, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carried, thank you. Any conflicts of interest this evening? Well, you might as well get that. Or you don't need to say it. You just know when it is, and you'll be.
Letter I and number C, or C. IC.
All right. All right, so we'll make sure you step out. Okay, thank you. Any other conflicts? Okay, thank you. All right, I'll take a mover and seconder for the minutes of the special council meeting held on September 10th, 2025 be approved as presented. Councillor Heislip, Councillor Cornish, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Take a mover and seconder for the minutes of the regular council meeting held on August 27th, 2025 be approved as presented. Deputy Mayor Wheaton, Councillor Wright, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carried. Thank you. All right, are you going to be next up? We got the Southwest Regional Service Commission 2026 budget presentation by Hollis Bartlett. And if you're ready,
That working? Am I good? Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I usually don't get this much of a reception, so thank you all for coming out. We'll flip to the first page there, Jeff. So the first page just shows the overall revenues for our proposed budget of 2026. This is a draft budget that we are proposing. It's to be voted on October 23rd is the date. And you will see that overall, it appears like there's a slight increase in the budget overall, going to $8,366,000 from $8,182,000. But as we go through, I'll show you that's actually not an increase in the budget. Next page. Same thing here as expenditures, and the only real reason for this page is to show you that it's a balanced budget. So no deficit or surplus projected in the budget. Next page. So corporate services. Corporate services is a budget we have to make that usually doesn't have any revenue associated with it, and this is the overhead that is common across all of our services. That includes things like my office, me, our financial personnel, some office expenses and things like that. And overall, it's going up slightly. And the reason for that is there's a new position that we are budgeting for as a communications coordinator that will be sometime in the very near future.
I do sound a little bit here and there, and no one can hear anything are those mics on?
There's a light on.
Oh, there is no speaker.
These are only for the.
This is just for television. Okay, you have to try to speak up.
I
Okay.
guess this is real life. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Sound in the room, we can't hear. Is there maybe you guys can speak a little clearer, louder?
Yeah.
No worries. So back to what I was saying, the corporate services are our overhead that's common across all the services. And then below that, on the second section there, you'll see the allocations. We changed the allocations a little bit this year. And we did so just so it makes more sense. This is more reflective of the reality of where these resources are allocated to. And as I go through each budget, you'll see why that makes much more sense. Next page. So we're going to start with solid waste services, and our budget overall for 2026 is
Still can't
showing.
hear. Still cannot hear a word that's happening.
There's no PA.
Do.
Continue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Try this, we got some more calls we can, please.
All right.
Too bad those don't turn on. There should be a sound system.
Even I wonder if you just pulled your chair out this way and then you'd be facing kind of half the crowd instead of back too. That might help. Just a suggestion.
This presentation is for the benefit of council.
Okay, I was just trying to chime in for her. Sorry.
Okay. Yay.
Great.
Without hearing what's going on.
So in solid waste services, I'll try to speak up as much as I can. Tipping fees are going to go from $95 to $98 a ton. And so there's a slight increase in the member tipping fees there. You'll see a little bit of an increase in some of the other sections that we have. Overall, it really isn't changing. The business isn't really changing very much. The big difference here is you'll see a surplus of second previous year in 2026 is at $718,000, where I only had $294,000 for 2025, and that's what accounts for the difference in the budget. That much more of a surplus going into 2026. And at the bottom, I put a little pie chart to show you just where all the revenues come from. So the actual residential garbage is that thing that says members, that light green. That's the piece of the pie that comes from residents that we bill to municipalities. And then the rest, as you can see, is ICI, which is commercial, West NB, which is another RSC, American, and other stuff. On this page, you'll see the estimated amount for St. Stephen is $254,800. Our 2025 budget estimate was $247,000, and that's really just reflective of the increase in tipping fees. Next page. So under expenditures, I highlighted one section here, and that is capital expenditures from operations. We are planning to, all of our capital will come out of operations next year. And that was kind of the biggest difference there. This year we had a larger capital expenditure because we bought a compactor, which is $1.2 million, and we did take some out of our solid waste reserves. There's no plan to take anything out of reserves for 2026. And everything else is roughly about the same. You can see under the expenses that the operations are, there's really no difference in what we're doing. There is no plan to do much of anything different than what we're doing, and this is about where we're going to be. Next page. So local planning. Again, not a big difference for next year in what we're actually doing. There's no plan to make any big change there. What we did have was there was an operating reserve fund that was created a couple of years ago when we had unbudgeted revenue, and we decided to apply some of that for 2026 just to keep the rates down close to where they were and just accounting for inflation. So the St. Stephen amount for planning for 2026 is budgeted at $105,000, $543. The 25 budget was $98,935. Next page. Cooperative and regional planning. The actual, what we're doing in cooperative and regional doesn't change a lot, but this is one of those places where you're going to see the change from the allocations that we change. So there's a lot more, this makes a lot more sense for the reality of when we do the cooperative regional. And for those that don't know, cooperative regional planning means stuff that our planning staff do that isn't particular for any one municipality, right? So it's for the region as a whole. That's really where it comes from. So it is going to be up. So the St. Stephen amount for 2026 billing amount is $14,757, and the 2025 budget is $4,305. Regional tourism promotion. This is a big difference. This is a big departure from 2025 budget. You will see that the RSSF that I'm applying, RSSF, for those that don't know what it means, is Regional Services Support Fund. We get an allocation every year. It's $630,000 what we get. And there's a provincial budget of $18 million. And our piece of that is $630,000. And I can apply that to the mandated services. So what we've done is we've taken as much RSSF as we could, because we have to match 50-50. And so the fees from members are going to be $106,932, and the RSSF is going to be $106,115. Compared to 2025, it's considerably less money, and that's because we have terminated the position of tourism director, and that person that I alluded to under corporate for the communications coordinator is going to take on a large part of this role. And that's why we did it that way. It's a big change in the strategy that we have for tourism promotion. There was a lot of discussion around this year, and I have spoken to the tourism committee as well, and we've kind of relayed the plan for that. And this seemed to be the appropriate approach for our region this year. We did a lot of foundational work in the first couple of years, building website and brand and a lot of that kind of stuff. But now we don't need to keep going at the same level. So this seemed a lot more appropriate. The bigger bonus here is that it's freed up about $150,000 of RSSF, which I'm going to apply to the other services as you're about to see. So for 2026, the St. Stephen amount is going to be $22,146, and the 2025 budget was at $40,888. Next page. Regional economic development. The biggest change in what's happening in regional economic development for next year is that we are adding this new position, which is the zonal immigration resource, basically. This is a fully funded position from the federal government, so it doesn't actually increase anything in terms of our budget requirements, but it is going to give us this extra person. And for a little bit of an explanation on that, the ZIP resource, as they call it, they are kind of a navigator for new people to our region, or new people to here. They work in tandem with the Multicultural Association. It's a complementary kind of position, and they pick up where they left off. And the goal of this is retention of newcomers. So it's a really good thing. And as I said, it's 100% funded by federal government. So the overall budget for economic development is going up slightly to $715. We actually are budgeting a little less for advertising and professional services, but I'm able to apply a lot more RSSF. So therefore, the actual amount of money I need for that $715,000 budget from all the members in Southwest is $10,000. So this is now 98.5% funded by outside provincial government and other stuff. So it's only 1.5% funded now from members. And the St. Stephen amount for 2026 is going to be $2,218. Next page. Community development. Similar story here. We're not doing a lot different. There's not a lot of plans for a big departure in what we're doing there. What is happening there is quite successful. We're getting a lot of really good work that happens. Some of you may know our community developer, but also our grant writer is also included in this, and that's been effective as well. But the good news here is I'm able to apply a lot more of that RSSF money so that I actually need, it's actually over 99% funded by provincial money largely, which is really good news. So I need $3,900 from community members for the whole, for our community development. St. Stephen budget for this for 2026 is $965. And that's pretty good value for money, gotta say. Transportation. A little bit of an explanation here. We applied for the RTSF, and I hope I got that acronym right. I think it's the Rural Transit Solutions Fund. Yep. We applied for that, but in order to qualify for that, we had to have a little skin in the game. So what we decided, or what the board decided last year, was that we were going to put a little money into transportation to be able to be our portion of that. And if we were successful at the time, it was about $800,000. And that money would be for capital costs for transportation solutions and a variety of things. We were unsuccessful with the application. We've applied again. I haven't got the results back on our new application. However, if we're unsuccessful again, then by the end of this year, the board will have to figure out what to do with this money that we collected in 2025. It can either go into a reserve, it can be refunded in the form of a rebate for transportation. There's a variety of things, or we can decide that there's a different solution that we want to fund internally. Again, that's a decision that we're going to have to make at the board level. But we'll see. So I don't need this money in 2026. So the fees from members for 2026 is going to be $3,177, and St. Stephen's portion of that is $785. In the transportation budget is also the funding for Dial-A-Ride. We get money from ESIC, and then it goes back through to Dial-A-Ride. We apply a little RSSF here as well, and that covers off the allocation from corporate services largely. We had a little bit of a deficit of the previous year, and that's really what we're paying for in 2026. Next page. Public Safety Committee. When the Public Safety Committee gets together, it's usually people that are already getting paid to be there from their other services. So we don't have a lot of expenses here. The only real expense that falls into this category is the speed sign. So we own a speed sign. There's software requirements for that every year and maintenance, and that's available to every member if they want to use it for any period of time. So I'm able to apply a little bit of money here, and the only fees I need from members for this is $178 for 2026, so the St. Stephen bill is $44. Recreational regional sport, recreation, cultural infrastructure support. So it's recreation cost sharing is what this really means. This one's a little bit interesting because we had a bit of a surplus. And the reason we had a surplus is because we had other recreation services on the go at the RSC that we stopped doing. And so that's how this stuff's going to come into play. That extra money is going to come back into play in 2026. I'm able to apply that. So the anomaly this year is that we are giving out more money than we're collecting. So that's again going to play in your favor here. We also cut the corporate allocation here to almost nothing because honestly this is really just an accounting exercise at this point. We're just writing checks 4 times a year really and making sure the money's collected. It doesn't require much of a corporate, so this is a much truer representation of what we need to do. So in 2026, the St. Stephen billing amount is $186,587, but your rebate is going to be $232,828. So you're going to net $46,241. And compare that to 2025, the net was $21,000. So you're going to have an additional $25,000 in recreation to work with. And the final page is just a summary of everything we just talked about. So if we add up all of this is just your billing numbers. This isn't obviously the whole RSC budget, but if we add up all what you'd be billed for in 2026, it's going to come out to $355,017. The 2025 budget was $419,745. So I'm pretty happy to report that you're going to be saving, looks like $65,000, or 20%. I don't get to do that very often. So,
It wasn't an easy task either. Well, then a lot of changes to do. Okay. Any questions? Councillor Greenlaw.
Thanks, Hollis. Great, great budget. Good to see it going down. I wanted to ask a question here. The surplus from the previous year, the $718,000 or $15,000. Can you? That was all solid waste.
Where
Where is it now? Second year previous. So. I find it here.
solid waste, yep. Yep, that was a solid waste one.
That's all from getting more garbage than we thought, or is it just that we?
It's a little bit of that. It's a little bit of some efficiencies we were able to do. So we did a change in staffing levels last year. That made a big difference, and because we did it in anticipate, like we did it before the year, so there's a little bit there. So.
Didn't have to build cells? Was that part of it?
Yes.
Okay.
That's right.
All right. I get a couple more. I can keep on going. So on the economic development, that's the tab for that is $715,000. And when I look down, I see that there's professional services and PR advertising to the tune of $420,000. So, is that something that we can look at? Are we getting our value out of that? And the professional services, can you elaborate a bit on those? That seems fairly hefty.
The professional services cover a few different contractors, one of them being PHRS, one of them being some of the HR support that we provide to small businesses around the region. Just to give you an idea of some of the stuff, because I do get questions on some of the services, so and it's hard for me to remember every detail, but in economic development, some of the stuff that's happening, some but not all, is there's business information sessions with some partners, there's education sessions on accounting, digital marketing. This is for businesses around the region. There was a Support Southwest Buy Local campaign that was launched earlier this year. And then there's, again, regional business visits. We did the Southwest Business Summit, which was extraordinarily successful this year, and last year it's been looked at as a world-class event, and the rest of the province looks at it as the model of what you should be doing. There was an update of the 2017 retail study from Future St. Stephen. So they did that in 2017, so there was some money there to do an update there. That would have been a consultant, one of those fees. There's an aquaculture fisheries R&D development study. There's an Exit 56 study support that we're doing. So Exit 56 will be a regional hub, and so we add a little support there. Under workforce development, the employment fairs are in March and November. There's a Youth Opportunities Expo. In fact, there's one coming up very soon. The employer support through PHRS, so that's giving support where they need it at different levels. There's quarterly HR community education sessions, immigration changes, online job listings. Under our progressive workplaces mandate, there's been some employer training, newcomer retention initiatives, and the zonal immigration partnership getting there. Under advocacy and promotion, was some community reach, workforce data collection. So workforce data collection is an important one, so that we can be a resource for when somebody does want to look at Southwest as a place to do business. They need to know what kind of a workforce they've got and what kind of education, who's available, that type of thing. There's been some youth outreach that falls under there. The other big thing that falls under our economic development is the healthcare community promotional funding program. Falls under that. So we get a little bit of money from Department of Health. We've developed some welcome packages for new medical professionals that come to the region. There is a welcome committee now for new healthcare workers. there was a couple of events where they wanted to add people to the health link, so we make sure that our numbers are represented to show the need for doctors and things like that in the region. They just had an event at the Algonquin and had over 100 medical students from Dal and other places, and so we were showcasing the region as a place where you might want to settle down, and so I guess that was, they were run off their feet at that one. I can go on, but that's where that stuff goes.
Okay, I appreciate that, Hollis. It's nice to know, all the stuff that's actually going on.
It's important to note, too, that our version of economic development it's really economic and workforce development, and it's a regional scope to that, and so we're supportive of all those kinds of things. I know there's other economic development initiatives, right? And so on the local side, it's going to be a lot of developers and land developers, and that's good, and that needs to happen. And I know that there's a new person in Eastern Charlotte. I know you have Future St. Stephen here, and I know that Fundy Shores has got Synergy as well as Campobello and McAdam. It's good to see that stuff happening, and that's a sort of a complementary service. It's different, but it's called economic development, but it's actually different things, but they're complementary to each other. Then there's the provincial investment attraction stuff from ONB, right? So there's a lot of meetings that happen between all of these people on a constant basis. I don't have to tell you.
Local economic development, a little bit different. Thank you for that. And the last question I had was on the regional recreational cost share. Are we going to continue with that model?
I haven't been told any different, so yeah. You're getting, this year you're getting a bit more of a rebate for St. Stephen because of how it worked out and because I had that little bit of a surplus. But I ask the question every year, do you want to continue with this? And the answer is, so far it's working out. I think what's happening, and I'm not going to use St. Stephen as the example, but I'm going to pick on Campobello a little bit. So Campobello pays in and they get back exactly the same amount of money, right? But what happens is they've got a certain amount of income that they're getting for recreation cost sharing that they can leverage. So if they want to go after something else, and then they can demonstrate that they have money coming from the RSC, even though they paid it, and then they can leverage that for some. If you're dealing, say, RDC, and they're looking for co-investment on programs.
Yep.
So
yep.
I think that's where that advantage comes from.
Councilor Rodas?
I just want to thank the RSC because when it came to the healthcare portion, we got in some really tough spots in terms of trying to make sure that the physicians had housing. We were on the cusp of losing a couple physicians to St. John. The RSC has had a huge role in helping us, support and retain these physicians, and it's really amazing to see the work that's gone on with MB HealthLink because prior to that event, we did not have the accurate numbers of how many people were without a physician. So that event actually gave us 6,000 names, which is a huge piece of the reason why Horizon was able to allocate more physician positions here. And I'm happy to report that at the Seniors Expo the other day, I spoke to every single senior that came to my booth. I was there with Extramural. I asked them if they were registered with MB HealthLink, and they all said yes. So that is just fantastic. When they've gone onto the website with a family member or they came to the event, if we did not have the RSC support, it would have been really hard for us. And Charlene was a great link between our concerns and the Department of Health because she's meeting with them regularly. So it's nice to be able to have that direct link because it's hard for us sometimes to have those conversations. So just big shout out. We really could not have done it without her support, and part of the reason why we have one secured and hopefully another soon. So thank you.
Councilor Cornish?
Just a quick question, Hollis. The blue line for the USA, I was under the impression a few years ago Maine was going to come up with their own plant or site. Did that not materialize? Or I see a big chunk of blue on there from USA. What's this?
Okay. A couple of years ago, we did lose a significant amount of business. It was one customer, really, over there. We still had, and we've always maintained a good relationship with all the rest of our USA customers. But they shifted around how they're doing a little, it's a different system over there. So they've shifted around how they're managing their waste a little bit. We're seeing a little bit of it come back, but I can't really count on USA stuff. But we did lose a little bit a couple of years ago, yes.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Hollis. Well done. All right, next up is public comment period.
Chandra Beth from Ward 3. I just wanted to make a comment about what seems to be a change in the regular council meeting agenda. This is the second meeting in a row where the department reports haven't been available, and they seem to be a move to the committee of the whole meetings. So I just want to comment to say that I think some of us are feeling that, number one, we don't really understand what's happened. There hasn't been any formal announcement or, even mention that this was happening. Wondering how that came to be, I guess. If it's something that's happening permanently, and if so, why? And I think if it's not obvious to you, that our concern is that if we don't have the department reports on the council agenda, where the public comment period is on the agenda also, that means to say that citizens don't then have an opportunity to be able to comment on any of the departmental reports. So I was hoping that there would be some description about that even before the public comment period, but just putting it out there, and citizens would love to hear about a little bit more about what's going on. Thank you.
Well, I'll just make a comment on that. What we're doing is trying to balance our load between meetings. And if you attended, if anyone saw the last meeting where we did have it on our committee, it encouraged a lot more dialogue between council on those items, and it had a lot more interaction, and which is one of the goals, and balancing the load. I can see how it looks, but you can still always ask questions. Questions are always accepted, so yeah. Okay. All right. Oh. Is there someone coming up? Yeah.
Can you ask the question whether they're going to add a public comment to the committee of the whole meetings, if they're changing when the administration reports are going to be added? Thank you.
So I guess just to reiterate for David, so the question is seeing as the reports are not on the regular council meeting, will the committee of the whole agenda then have an opportunity for public comment period so that people can actually address the reports?
Yeah, we'll have to look at changing something in there to see. Well, we'll have to talk with the council and see how they want to go with that.
I just wanted to ask if this, Bernadette from Ward 2. Just wondering if tonight's being live streamed. I've had some people saying that it's not getting through like normal. So I just wondered if anybody could check on that.
I know our live stream through the eScribe on our website is down. That was what I mentioned right before you can be in the meeting. The delay was a technical delay that Celeste was struggling with the computer. We don't know what's causing that at this time. But as far as I know, I'm looking over at CHCO, and it looks like they're giving me the thumbs up. So their feed should be live streaming.
Okay, YouTube, everybody? Well, I guess they're not going to hear me because it's not hooked up. Okay.
My name's Tanya Templeton, and I appreciate all you guys, your service to the town. And I really, just as a technical question, I guess, is there any way at some point, hopefully in the near future, we can have a different room for hearing you guys? We honestly can't hear. It was amazing. All of a sudden, I could hear you. It's like as soon as he faced us, I'm like, oh, I can kind of hear. So if there's any kind of layout, a bigger room where you guys all spread out, we can actually have microphones at work, speakers at work, and more chairs. Because if you want the town involved, we have to be here and be heard and hear you, and that's how it happens. and it's better than telling everybody off on Facebook. We can actually just come here and actually hear and go, okay, oh yeah, okay, that's not a bad idea. Yeah, I like that. You know what I mean? Hearing it, we need to communicate. So that's my suggestion. If, like, I don't know if there's a bigger room upstairs or mics, speakers, you guys need help with that? Is it possible? Tell me, Alan.
Well, I'm just waiting for you.
All right.
I didn't want to shut your. Once I hit this, it shuts your mic off. So I didn't want to shut your mic off. So yes, we are definitely looking at a larger room. We've talked about that since we amalgamated, and we've had some challenges with the cost of it and acceptance and all kinds of things. But it is on our to-do list, you know, and it will be brought to council again in the future if all goes as planned. And if I miss anything, Jeff, on that?
It'll be a budget item for this year, as it has been the last couple of years. It just, as you guys all know, we had to make tough decisions along the way as far as various expenditures, and the new council chambers / upgraded council chambers didn't make the cut the last couple of years, but we will bring it back again for your consideration again this year.
$250,000 change rooms? What's our surplus?
Oh, there it goes. Okay, there. I'm live again. Yeah. Okay. Next up is, thank you. Sorry, Tanya. All right, I need a mover and seconder for proposed resolution that bylaw 01-25, a bylaw relating to the composition of the Municipal District of St. Stephen Council, be giving its first reading entirety. Councillor Harding, Councillor Greenlaw. Okay. Bylaw 01-25, bylaw relating to the composition of the Municipal District of St. Stephen Council, pursuant to the powers conferred by the sections 42 to 47 of the Local Governments Act. Local government may change the composition of its council and may determine its local governance system by making a bylaw. Being enacted by the Municipal District of St. Stephen, subject to the provisions of the Local Governance Act under Section 15 as follows. Composition. Number 1, elected council for the Municipal District of St. Stephen shall consist of a mayor and 6 councillors. Number 2, the qualifications of candidates for the council of the Municipal District of St. Stephen shall be as provided for the Municipal Elections Act as to who's eligible to be a candidate for the office of mayor and councillor of the municipality. 3, the division of representatives of the elected council of the Municipal District of St. Stephen shall be as follows. 3 councillors elected from Ward 1, 3 councillors elected from Ward 2, and 1 mayor elected at large. 4, the boundaries of the ward shall be oh my God. Tongue-tied here, sorry. Say it again. Depicted in Schedule A, annexed hereto and made part hereof. Effective date. This number 5. This bylaw comes into force at the date it has been filed by the council with the municipal electoral officer. Repeal. Number 6. Bylaw 06-23, being a bylaw relating to the composition of the Municipal District of St. Stephen Council, is hereby repealed. This is their first reading on October 1st. Yeah.
Just for clarity, especially for those that don't necessarily have the package in front of them, the Ward 1 that's referred to in this bylaw is Ward 1 and 3 combined into a single ward, so it's an entire rural area ward, and then Ward 2 is the current Ward 2. So it's the goal here is to have 3 members of council from the rural area, 3 members from the urban area, and the mayor at large. It could be from either area. This is in conjunction with the report that was provided to council previously, the request from council to submit that report to the government of New Brunswick for their review. They have given us their pending approval of this bylaw. They suggested some wording changes, and we accommodated those. So what will happen should council choose to proceed? We've asked for 2 readings tonight. we will request a third reading at a special council meeting held immediately before the committee of the whole meeting coming up this month. And the reason we're doing that is we're on tight timelines as we have to do our third readings. We have to reissue this back to the Department of Local Government, the minister will approve it, we hope. And then we get it back from GMB, and then we have to submit it to Elections NB. And there's certain legislative deadlines we have to hit, and if we wait till the end of the month to try and get third reading in, those deadlines really shrink tight. So that's why we're bringing it today, and the intention is to have a quick special council meeting in a couple weeks' time. But this was pursuant to your request, and so far, ELG, Environment Local Government, has seen fit to allow us to proceed.
Hearing all that. Any more questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Or resolution carried. All right, a mover and seconder for the second reading. Proposed resolution that bylaw 01-25 bylaw relating to the composition of the Municipal District of St. Stephen Council be given the second reading by title only. Councillor Heislip by Councillor Greenlaw. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Proposed resolution approved. And as Jeff said, we'll do the next one in a few weeks. All right, new business, request for decisions. Library Board term renewal. I'll have a mover and seconder, please. Councillor Harding, Councillor Greenlaw. That council approve the renewal of the St. Croix Public Library Board member Jane Lindsay for a 3-year term. And I'll still leave it at that. Yeah. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Jane. Provincial Municipal Highway Partnership Program, PMHP, funding application. Mover and seconder of the document entitled Municipal District of St. Stephen 3-year Plan for the PMHP Program 2028 to 2030 be adopted. So moved. Councillor Wright? Councillor Cornish? Any questions? Oh.
Just for clarification, I know we made a late change to this document. I wanted to make sure everybody had caught it. Councillor Wright correctly identified a bit of a legacy description on one of the projects in the initial posting of the plan that was here. I think it referred to Pleasant Street going to the quote municipal border. That was back when the municipal border was Ward 2. That project's been on the plan for a very, very long time. That's been corrected, so it no longer it'll all be based on the distance from the intersection. So, which is how they would have read it anyway. But it was a good catch by Councillor Wright to bring that to my attention that the legacy statement was there. So we've corrected that for the final submission to our friends at the department.
Okay, after hearing that, any more questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. So this is your time. Okay. All right, a mover and seconder please, that council approves the purchase agreement negotiated by the Chief Administrative Officer on behalf of the Municipal District of St. Stephen with regards to the acquisition of land and building at 54 Progress Drive, St. Stephen, New Brunswick, PID number 152-17664, as previously directed by council. And that council authorizes the funding for the purchase of the land and the building at 54 Progress Drive, PID number 152-17664, utilize funds budgeted in 2025 from the General Operating Fund capital expense budget to a maximum of $500,000. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Greenlaw, Councillor Heislip. Question? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. And I'll have a mover and seconder, please. The council, acknowledge the council reports are received. Councillor Wright, Councillor Harding. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. All right. Oh, should I wait for councillor to get back? Well, there's going to be some downtime here anyway, isn't it? Okay, a motion, I need a mover and seconder that pursuant to Section 68, Bracket 1 of the Local Governance Act, council move to closed session for a purpose of discussing negotiation of an agreement, and 2, another negotiated agreement.
So moved. Second.
Councillor Wright, Councillor Greenlaw. Questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, we're now moving into closed.